My wife is cheating on me without cheating on me and I can't talk to anyone about it. Let me explain. Thank you for bearing with me for the duration of this post. There is a lot of information here. My wife and I have been each other's closest and, at times, sole friends throughout the majority of our married lives. We are both quite shy and have a terrible time making new acquaintances because of this. She recently became good friends with a guy colleague. She has had male employees in the past, and I have never been bothered by it. This one, on the other hand, is distinctive. Initially, she started contacting him often and incessantly, and I was completely unaware of it until I discovered she had over our texting limit, which she had never even near prior. She kept it secret from me for fear of causing me to be jealous of her success. She is under the impression that he is just a friend that she needs. She joins him for lunch and then departs to go get some coffee for themselves. They talk on the phone for a couple of hours once or twice a week, depending on how busy they are. They've also started sending each other pictures of themselves through text message, not racy ones or anything, just normal stuff. They often text each other throughout the day, literally, even to the point where they have to say goodbye to one another. She is now, for the most part, forthright in her dealings with everyone. On occasion, I'll learn something new about her that she didn't tell me, or I'll catch her up in a little deceit that she said she was doing to protect my feelings. But for the most part, she isn't trying to hide her feelings. As far as I can tell, they aren't spending any more time together than I assume they are, since she doesn't have any free time on her schedule that I can see. There is no such thing as unexplained time. However, I continue to get the sensation that she is involved in an emotional affair. I've informed her clearly that this makes me uncomfortable, and that I don't appreciate her having this kind of connection with another man at this point in her life. Nonetheless, I see that telling her she cannot have this friendship is incorrect. The problem is that he is also married and the relationship is experiencing problems. Furthermore, his wife has requested that he refrain from texting my wife any longer, so they've started texting one another via hanging with friends in the hopes that she won't notice, which, in my opinion, is both offensive and inaccurate. The rumor that they are having an affair has been circulating at her place of employment, and it has spread across the company. When we were having one of the several fights/discussions over this, I asked my wife if she would tell her mother about what she was doing. She agreed. She was adamant in her refusal. Asked whether she felt what she was doing, in opposition to mine and his wishes, was appropriate. She said that it was not. She was adamant in her refusal. This, however, is not enough to convince her to give up her job. I'm not even asking her to discard him as a friend. All I'm asking is for her to treat him like any other work colleague, with no platonic dates, long conversations, or all-day text marathons at the workplace. If the situation were reversed, she has even said that she would despise having a woman friend like this, but this hasn't been enough to persuade her to cease her behavior. The reason why I can't tell anybody about it is because she is close with every friend or family member of mine, and I don't want anyone to think less of her or to find out about our difficulty since she is close with them. As a consequence, I'm forced to suffer in silence. I'm completely at a loss on what to do. I'm trying not to be pushy and to show her that I respect her, but this whole scenario seems to be out of control, and I have every right to be disgusted by it. Simply putting it all down on paper feels fantastic. Please accept my apologies for the rambling and hopping about. The amount of information available is just overwhelming. So, what are your feelings on the matter? Is it just a case of being too sensitive or paranoid, or do you think I'm completely wrong about my dissatisfaction? Update. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts and recommendations. It's all been really eye-opening and useful in every aspect. I realized I was in denial and that there was a problem that needed to be handled, whether or not my wife realized what was going on at the time. As I said yesterday, I wrote her a message detailing my sentiments at home and prepared a little luggage for her to take with her on her trip. I checked into a motel for the night and asked to meet with her tonight to discuss the situation further. I included around a dozen of your comments in the letter so she could see what other people felt about our situation. I also included what I wrote so she could see that I wasn't exaggerating. Don't worry, I didn't give her your contact information, so she won't come after you. I received a phone call from her after she returned home and read the letter. I didn't reply, but she left a message asking me to come home and talk with her, in which she was weeping, which is typical of her. They had previously decided to end their relationship since they both recognized that they were falling in love with one another. She said in the message, She had lunch with the other guy the day before. She explained in the message. I ultimately decided to go home and have a conversation with her about it. We had a long and spirited conversation. She told me that he had admitted to having feelings for her the day before, but had promised not to pursue them any further. In her message to me, she shared how the day before yesterday, she became aware that she was developing feelings for him, which concerned her. She said that she really believed they were just friends, and that she was unable to admit that it was anything more than that, and then it occurred without her knowing. She told me that they had not engaged in any physical activity yet, that it had not progressed that far, and that this was the reason they decided to discontinue their relationship. As neither of them wanted to cross a line, they would be unable to reverse. On this one, I'm going to agree with her completely. She told me that, despite the fact that she had already begun to withdraw from his connection, the letter I had written had actually opened her eyes to what she was doing to me and to the rest of the family members. It broke my heart to see her so unhappy and ashamed in front of everyone. Before now, I'd never seen her in such a state of mind. We both sobbed for a long time, and I was able to say what I needed to say and ask the questions I needed addressed. I believe she was finally really open and honest with me about everything, even some unpleasant things for me to hear. This went on for a long period of time. Instead of remaining alone at the hotel, I invited her to accompany me. We went out to dinner, then to the hotel's hot pool, and had a fantastic night together. I understand what some of you are thinking, but this isn't the conclusion of the story. We have a lot of things to figure out. We're discussing some therapy, and it'll take some time for me to totally trust her again. I'm not going to pretend nothing occurred, but I'm also not abandoning my marriage. I'm not going to. I'll never do it. Some of you may think I'm but I don't mind. This is the lady I promised to spend the rest of my life with, and I don't plan to violate that commitment as long as I have a choice in the matter. For better or worse, correct. Today, I also texted the other man, informing him that my wife informed me of what was going on, and that I wanted to make it plain that if I see even a single non-work-related text from him on her phone again, we will have a different conversation in person. My wife and I have a long road ahead of us, but I'm certain that we're both dedicated to repairing our relationship and going on. I really wanted to thank everyone, at least those who gave me good suggestions for yesterday. I needed to be jolted awake, and I believe it came just in time. I feel like this gloomy cloud is finally breaking up. Update 2. Hello once again, everyone. Thank you everybody, or at least the majority of you, for your kind words of support. My wife and I have had a lot of serious, emotional talks over the previous several days. After being with her for 12 years, I can honestly state that I've observed a significant difference in her over the last few months, but she's finally returned to her former self in the last few days. I can tell she is honest. I learned that the other man and his wife would be leaving shortly, which makes me glad. My wife has felt so bad that she has agreed to be open and honest with me, allowing me to be as nosy as I need to be and to check in on her as often as I need to till I feel safe again. We'll be beginning some counseling with our pastor shortly, which I believe will be very beneficial. It still aches that it ever went this far. I've gone through phases of rage, pain, disappointment, and hope. I'm sure it will take a long time for those negative sentiments to go. But everything will be okay. I'm certain of it.